Welcome to Our English. I am Priscilla Ramcharan here in Pennsylvania, and I'm so honored to have my forever mentor, Mr. Ed Johnson, Senior Executive Officer of Civic Engagement and former mayor of Asbury Park in New Jersey. And I will put his website in the description below so you can see the list that goes on. Welcome.
Well, I'm glad to be here. How are you?
Super, super. So would you like
Good.
to introduce yourself?
Well, it's hard. Where should I begin? We've known each other for so long since, as we were just in chatting before, since last century. I'll say
Don't
that
tell them.
from our days at the White Foundation, and it's been such a pleasure to stay in touch and to see you grow and start a family and do all of the great things, which is not a surprise, but we always knew that you would do.
You too. I had great footsteps to follow in. And like I said, you all have raised this.
Uh-oh.
So, Mr. Johnson, I know you say call you Ed, but it's just a habit. Tell me what inspires you to do the work that you do nowadays and previously.
Well, my family background, I come from a family that has always inspired everyone to be involved in your community, wherever that community is. Pardon me. My parents were always, find your place and then make that place better for everyone. And all of the stories that my parents and my grandparents told us that really made us understand that there's a reason why I get to sit in this chair today. And that's because of the blood, sweat, and tears and the sacrifices of the many people that came before me that made this possible. So that inspired me to get involved. And I, as you know, had built a career working with young people, helping them to reach their full potential and to access just the different possibilities and the opportunities that are open to them, and also to create their own opportunities and possibilities and not be limited by what other people say. So that has always been my sort of motivation to get involved and to work with young people, sort of preparing the next generation, and then also work within my community as well, sort of to leave it better than when I found it.
Oh, I love that. So, where's the book?
See, I'm not, and earlier we were talking about the books that you've written, and I really have to say I admire that, and I'm also jealous. I know myself that I will never be able to sit down and write a book. I'm going to need someone to follow me around with a tape recorder.
I'm going to pinky promise that my system works and you'll have a book by the end of this year. What do you say?
I'm going to have to follow that because I share these stories and everyone's like, well, why don't you write these down? And I'm like, well,
voice typing.
Yeah, well, maybe maybe now's the time to get all these down.
Well, you and I have traveled the Northeast together on college searches with the other students, and you were always amazing and took such great care of us and told us lovely stories along the way. So thank you for that. Go ahead.
Those were really fantastic days. To load up the bus and we'd go north, then we'd do central, then we'd go south. And to really, one of the things I enjoyed doing that is watching everyone's eyes as they got off that bus. And it's like introducing them to a whole brand new world. And you can just see it in their eyes that, yeah, this is possible. You belong right here if you want to make it here. And so I really enjoy those days, and they're fond memories.
1000%, but it wasn't always the best. Do you remember the first time we took that speedy train?
Up to Maine, and then we took the train for how many hours, and then had to drive like 90 hours. That was
well, we made it to the end of the continent.
It's true. And remember, those were the days before cell phones.
Oh gosh, yes.
I can remember when we'd go on those bus trips and the bus would always be late. So basically, we told our parents that, oh, we'll be back by what, 5 or 6, and we pull up at 10:30. We'd
I
like,
know my mom. What were you doing? So Trini moms, but we made it. We survived. We went on, and look how many amazing things you've accomplished. I mean,
oh,
mayor, and you're just telling me all about the videos that are on your website. So be sure to
mhm.
check that out. So, my last question for you is, what is your message to the viewers, especially for the new year, 2021?
Well, especially this year, this has been, a unique year. I mean, think about it. 1 year ago today, if someone had told us you're going to be locked down for the next year, you're not going to be able to go anywhere, and when you do, you're going to have to wear a mask. And I'm
Mm,
not talking about Mardi Gras. So we would have chuckled and said, you got to be kidding. I remember I was in Europe about a year ago, the end of January, and I can remember hearing in the background on the television, on BBC, about a virus in China. And
mm-hmm.
too much attention. I was like, I hope it's not bad, and I hope they get over it quickly. And then less than a month and a half later, here we are. So this has been a unique year where each one of us have learned about each ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
a lot about ourselves. One of the things my parents were always concerned about with technology is that they felt, and since we're obviously older kids and not growing up with cell phones and those kinds of things, they were still concerned that we didn't know how to be alone with ourselves, that we didn't
Mm-hmm.
have creativity, and we didn't know how to persevere through hard times. My parents went through, or my grandparents went through World War II. My parents went through Korea and the
Oh,
Civil Rights
wow.
Movement, which still continues.
Mm-hmm.
So the challenges that make you stronger and make you a better person, that give you the experience that you need to persevere. So my message to everyone this year is you may not realize you've learned a lot, but you have.
Mm-hmm.
Not realize that you've done a lot, but you have. And I think we need to take a moment. We usually always say stop and smell the roses during the good times, like when you're walking across a graduation stage or getting married or doing the positive things in life. But even during this time, I think it's time to pause a moment and take stock in the accomplishments that we have all been able to achieve this year through hardship. Because you certainly, while we all want to live on the mountaintop, sometimes you got to visit the valley.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is really that moment. And, I'm not happy about it, but you know what? We're going to make some lemonade out of this.
That's right.
We're going to move forward.
Put a little something spiced in there, and you're warm and cozy.
I didn't want to say that, but
This is a beautiful message, really, really beautiful message. And, during this time, we kind of speed warped into the future with online teaching and
absolutely.
online learning, meetings online, actually having to set business hours while you're at home. Otherwise, your phone is ringing beyond business hours.
It's true.
So, yes.
It's very interesting because in higher education, we always foresaw like, oh, virtual education,
Mhm.
classes online, which we had, but we always talked about, the entire system in like 20, 30 years, we're going to be online. And that all happened in like 7 days in March last year,
Mhm.
where we
Mhm.
had to lift, like here at Brookdale Community College, where I work, we lifted the whole college operations, classes, everything to a virtual platform.
Right.
So it took some learning. I think this fall we were much better than past spring. But as you said, being on whatever platform, Google Meetings or Zoom meetings, it was all foretold by the Brady Bunch.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
and if you're my age, you remember watching, they would have the family in that little kind of Hollywood Square boxes. So obviously the Brady Bunch knew what was happening.
Somebody did. I don't know if you know this, but I finished my bachelor's degree online about 8 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was the
Mhm.
most beautiful experience. We've been homeschooling for the past 5 years. I've been working from home online for the
Mhm.
past 5 years. So it was quite interesting to see people now coming to me and saying, "Oh my gosh, how'd you do this?
Mhm.
How'd you get the girls to homeschool?" Which was their choice, just in
Yeah.
case. But, seeing where I was when the pandemic started online, and now others who are coming to me for advice and how to work things out, how to do this, and teaching them, I kind of felt like I was making a difference for them as well. So it's
So
it's
that's
always
interesting.
good.
As we're all panicking about, oh, how are we going to do this? And so we're just sort of catching up with you.
A little bit, a little bit.
Yeah.
I want to say, as sad as I am for all the things that went down, and you know losing so many people,
Hmm.
such a tragedy that words can't even be aren't big enough to say how horrible it's been. But on the
Yeah.
upside, those of us who are still here and still struggling on and persevering and doing what we have to do, we have to, exactly what you said, appreciate what we've accomplished survival wise.
Hmm. And
So,
also the opportunity to realize all of those things that we thought were important
mm-hmm,
didn't, weren't important at all.
absolutely.
You're able to just sort of jettison. I've had a couple things that I thought were so important. And then I realized, you know what? That is not important at all. And, protecting yourself and your loved ones and
Yes.
focusing on those things that are important.
Absolutely. Well, this has been amazing. You are amazing as usual, inspirational as usual,
Well, thank
same
you. And
smile, bright and friendly.
a little bit more gray.
Mm, I
But
can't see it through this lens. I'm sorry.
bless you.
Stay safe, wash your hands, and we will definitely catch up soon.
Thank you. And listen, keep going forward. I am so inspired by you as well.
Thank
So
you.
I appreciate all the kind words that you've had for me, but I have to tell you that, working with you and working with the White Foundation Scholars and each and every single one of you helped inspire me as well. So
Oh, heart melt. Thank you so much. Say bye bye.
take care.